Okay, now on this situation, they're asking us to determine whether 3 points are the vertices of a right triangle. So do these 3 points make up a right triangle? Now, even if I were to draw them, they're going to be so close that they kind of look like they are, and I'm not going to be able to tell right away specifically, like just determining it by looking at it. The eye test is not going to be possible. So what I'm going to have to do is figure out the distance between the first point and the second point, the distance between the third and the second and the third, and the distance between the third and all the way back to the first. Okay, and with those three numbers, I'm going to do the Pythagorean theorem. Okay, so the two smaller numbers squared and added up should equal to the bigger number squared. All right, so it does this one. These do take a lot of work, so you're gonna need some scratch paper to work these out. All right, so let's figure out the first. Let's say this is point A, B, and C. All right, so let's figure out the distance between point A and point B first. So the distance, remember, was x1 minus x2. Sorry, x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. All right, so for the from A to B, all right, it's going to be x2 is 9 minus negative 2. That's squared plus y2 is negative 8. Sorry, not negative negative 10. Sorry, negative 10. I was already looking at the third point. So it's negative 10 minus 1 squared. So that's going to be 9 minus negative, that's 11 squared. And this is negative 10 minus 1 is negative 11 squared. Now, right here, don't say, oh, that's 0. No, because it's squared on the second one. That's going to be like it's positive 11 squared. So it's going to be 11 squared and 11 squared. Right? It's really this. It's 11 squared plus 11 squared. Okay? So that's going to be basically 2 times 121. 11 squared is 121. So this is really 11 square root of 2. So that's the first from A to B. All right, now let's figure out from B to C. So same thing, x2 from B to C. So x2 is 11 minus 9 squared plus negative 8 minus negative 10 squared. So that's going to be 2 squared plus negative 8 plus 10 is also 2 squared. So that is 2 times 4. And the 4 I could take the square root of, that's a 2. So the outside is going to be 2 square root of 2. All right, so that's the second one. And then from C all the way back to A, square root 11 minus negative 2 squared plus negative 8 minus 1 squared. I'm noticing a pattern on these, right? They're all 2 of something. So it's going to be square root of This first one's going to be negative 11. Sorry, 11. Oh, no, never mind. No, this one. 11 minus negative 2. So this one actually becomes 13 squared plus, that's a 9. Now, really, you're getting negative 9 squared, but remember that negative is not going to matter, so it's going to go away anyway. So it's 13 squared. So, which is the biggest number from these three? Right. So if I go on Desmos, let's see real quick. I'm going to switch over real quick. All right, so I'll go over to Desmos, and I'm trying to figure out what is the square root of 13 squared plus 9 squared. That's 15.83, and then the other one was 11 times the square root of 2. And the last one was 2. Square root of 2. All right, so the two smaller numbers, I'm going to square those and see if they equal to the bigger one, right? And even this one, I can go back and double check that I did that correctly. Was this correct here? It was 11 squared plus 11 squared, right? So it looks like it is. And this one was, so that's the beauty of this calculator. Remember I told you? The second one was 2 squared plus 2 squared. So, oops. 2 squared plus 2 squared. Oops, that's backwards. 2 squared. Okay. So again, these two smaller ones need to equal to this bigger one. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do parentheses, and let's see if I can copy it. Or actually, I should just copy this so it could be exact. Not going to let me. Okay, I'm going to do Control C and then Control V. So this one is squared plus this one, again, Control C. I'm going to put it in parentheses, Control V, and this one is squared. All right, then, so that's that one. Those are the two shorter ones, and I'm going to take this, Control C, parentheses, Control V, and I'm going to square it. Is it equal to 250? Yes, it is. So then, is it, and it didn't, at the very beginning, it didn't really seem like it was going to, right? So I go back to this, right? And I determined, well, was it a right triangle after all? Do these 3 points make a right triangle? Yes, they did. So the answer was yes. And again, the reason was because this squared, so this was A, from A to B, that was one leg. From A to B was one leg. And then B to C was the second leg. And then the third leg was from C back to A. So we had to do those 3. So this one squared, this distance plus this one squared, it was equal to this distance squared. And so I'm talking about these numbers here, right? This squared plus this squared was equal to this squared. Okay? And again, that's, use Desmos. I cannot stress that enough. Use Desmos, because with Desmos, you're able to like copy and paste and I didn't have to worry about, you know, even simplifying some of this stuff. Like this one, I knew that it was 2 square root of 2, right? It's the same number. These two are the same number. I knew that. But I can go back and double check, and I knew that this was 11 square root of 2. But again, I can double check here. I rewrote it into it in a different form, and it's exactly the same number. All right.